Welcome back to TenTenths Podcast. I'm your host, Robert Grout, and I'm sitting in the Kanga Motorsports studio, and Adam said, and I quote, fuck the studio and fuck the fans. I am sitting at home.
That's exactly what happened. I was like, you know what? Fuck everybody.
Yep, sitting at home.
Yeah. Robbie had to beg and plead for me to even do this much, frankly.
I don't know why you hate the podcast so much.
Well, you know.
Actually, I came downstairs and was like, all right, let's get ready. Let's record. And I looked at it and I'm like, crap. I am set up to do a show with people in there.
I realized that like an hour ago. Like, shit, he's got to like move all that stuff. Because kind of in the back of my head, I was like, man, this will be like, we've got a system worked out now because like, so today I worked really close to home.
Yeah.
And it's just way easier for me to come home.
No, I get it.
And I was just, and I was like, and you know, Katie hasn't been feeling very well these last few days. So I was just like, well, you know, I'll come home and deal with Logan for a little while. And then it turns out I forgot that, or I could have swore it was tomorrow afternoon, but apparently I scheduled my second COVID vaccination for this afternoon. So I had to sprint over to Ames, and that was why I'm a little bit behind our original timetable.
Oh, good. That means your symptoms will hit you halfway through the show.
Yeah, so if I grow like a second head or something, just keep rolling.
Or if you're
ignore it,
or if you're shivering, freezing cold, but drenched in sweat, we're not going to stop. We're going to finish the show.
Drenched in sweat, so shivering cold will be a welcome change in this weather lately.
Oh gosh, like in the desert right now.
Oh, it's so gross outside, and we haven't had any shower or any rain.
No,
in so long.
Nope. We're looking at a pretty serious drought.
Yeah, it's been real bad.
I think Des Moines Waterworks said that normally the water we get from like Saylorville Lake or whatever, like this is like weeks ago already, that normally we have like it's like 1.3 million gallons a minute going through the dam or whatever, or whatever they measure it at, and they're like, at this point right now we're at 300,000. So we're screwed. There's probably going to be a water shortage.
Yeah. I would assume most of our listeners are well aware of the fact that we were at a Grid Life event this weekend and that I did the live stream stuff, and we were the producer guy, Rally Matt. He said, or he told us that somebody had told him it was the worst drought that part of Michigan has had in 80 years.
That's crazy.
Which made for a dry Grid Life, which was an appreciated change of pace. But with as bad as things are, even I'm asking for rain, and I hate rain.
Yep, I'm right there with you. It can rain now that Grid Life is over. I'm good with that. I can take a rain day. That's fine.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, we're doing a show. We're doing it back to Zoom style because you couldn't be bothered to drive to my house. You made me spend all afternoon getting the studio set up for a solo show. That's not what it is either, Robbie. Yep.
Don't put this on me.
No, I thought
it's my fault. Don't get me wrong, but don't put this on me.
I'm not taking. I take no responsibility.
That's fine. I should take more responsibility for my actions.
Oh man. But before we get into it, I would like to announce that we have a new sponsor.
We're changing shit up.
We are. So if you've listened to the show recently, you've known that Don Boss from Tech Boss Motorsports and Tech Boss LLC, he's been doing lots of stuff. And because he's the type of person that when he touches things, it turns to gold. And his techbosscompany.com. He has launched that website where you can buy pit bikes, scooters, go-karts, little ATVs, all that stuff. And he's already had a bunch of sales, and it's going really well. And so we're partnering with him so that if you want to get a pit bike or anything like that, you just go to techbosscompany.com, TEKBOSS company.com, and then you go swing over to the left because it's a new website and they're still getting it all sorted out. And just click inventory, or you could go through like all the scooters and bikes and stuff and see what's available. And you can order whatever you need. And then you can use our code, TenTenths, and get 10% off, which is crazy.
It's awesome.
So we've a handful of friends have bought stuff through him, and then like they left it at my house, and I brought them to the track and stuff. So I drove them around the yard quite a bit before I brought them to them, and then drove around
as one does.
I drove around all weekend. Well, not all weekend because it poured rain on Sunday, but all weekend on Saturday at the Heartland Park event, just screwing around on his scooters. They're a blast, and they're not that expensive. That's what's crazy, because you get a 36 volt, 800 watt Say Yeah, I think is what they're called, scooter, $420, $42 off if you use our code TenTenths.
Hell yeah. I know he's been trying really hard to get us to come in and play with these toys of his. One of these days, I'm sure we will.
Oh, we absolutely will. I had him because my windows fogged up so bad at Heartland Park when it was raining, because I deleted all that stuff, and I was like, I'll never need this. And it turns out I do. I asked him to make me a little defog system, so I got to go over there and pick that up when he finishes it. So I'll be over there pretty soon, I would hope.
So that's Tech TEK.
TEKBOSS company.com.
Boom.
Yep. So I'm excited. These are fun. I need to get one of these for myself, because he keeps asking which one I want, which one I need to take to these events, and I really wish I would have had it at Grid Life this past weekend, because I had to walk everywhere, and that's
I'm gonna need to get one myself, because I have to do a lot of running around at these Grid Life events these days.
Yeah, because like even this, like the 250 watt, the small ones, that'll get you what you need to do, back and forth. But you could get the big off road ones, which are freaking crazy. It's a 2,000 watt, 48 volt Mototech. Adam Pacetto bought one, and that's what was at my house for a while. It's crazy. It's crazy fast.
Yeah.
It's crazy fun. It's worth every penny.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, if you were thinking about getting something that'll get either for your kids, like a go-kart, or like a four-wheeler or ATV, or if you were thinking about things for yourself, like pit bikes and whatnot, head over to techbosscompany.com and use our code.
Yeah. Should we open it up?
Let's open it up, Adam.
Robbie, I did a thing.
Okay.
So I think we've talked about it briefly here and there on the show, but maybe not, because I can't remember, because everything runs together these days. But I know I've talked. Probably most of you are well aware of the fact that I have a pretty used up daily for Katie and my kid, and the Blazer's just not the right thing. And everybody knows I loved my minivan, and that I would never, ever, ever in my wildest dreams would have said I would never drive a minivan.
I'm pretty sure you said that.
I'd never said it, Robbie.
I've heard it verbatim.
No, that's not what happened. That was some Alex Jones fake news bullshit.
No, I heard it. I heard you say it in person, and then I also heard it recorded multiple times.
Never happened.
Played on this show.
Never happened.
Never say never.
So anyway, excuse me. Sorry, I am wore out today. Anyway, tax season comes, and I, for whatever reason, probably should work on changing this, but I don't. I get kind of a ridiculous tax return back, which we don't need to get into my finances here. But I told Katie that I would designate a pretty large sum of that money towards purchase of a minivan. And I told her this time we're changing the script. We're flipping the table. We're doing it different. We're buying a Honda or a Toyota.
Probably a good choice. Those are nice vehicles.
In the price range that I was willing to spend, the age category that would have got me in Chrysler product, being Dodge or Chrysler minivan. They are very notorious for transmission issues that I didn't want to deal with.
Yeah.
And I just, not that my allegiances are swaying, so don't take this out of context, but I just didn't want a GM one. And everyone keeps telling me you need to buy Hondas, you need to buy Toyotas. They're dead nuts reliable. You can drive them into the ground. Why aren't you doing this? So I bought a Honda Odyssey.
Is this because you saw one racing at Coda and you thought you had to have one?
I mean, that's been quite some time ago by now.
Yeah.
But that being said, the J Series V6 that's in it can sound pretty good. And a friend of Ryan Seiler's, my friend from Sioux Falls, apparently used to have an Accord with this V6 in it, and it had a catback exhaust on it that Ryan said made it sound ridiculously good, but not like really loud and obnoxious, just insanely good.
Okay.
And he still has it despite the fact that he sold the car. And while I'm sure that it's too short, lengthening exhaust pipe is not that hard.
Oh, no, it's
and
easy.
I kind of want to see if I can buy it.
Well, now that you mentioned it on the show, they're going to inbox you, and you're going to have to take it.
Yeah.
Because that's how things go. You just speak things into existence on this show, and things happen.
That seems to happen more for you than it does for me.
Yeah, that's kind of by design, though. When I say things on the show, it's usually kind of like feelers, and if things happen, then let's do it.
That's fair. That's fair.
So,
but anyway, so I found this one on Craigslist. We looked at 3 of them.
Odysseys or just vans?
Yes, Odysseys. After looking at Siennas just online, I decided I didn't like the interior, and therefore we were going to buy an Odyssey.
How different can an interior from one minivan to the other be?
Remarkably not that different.
Okay.
But I still said I don't want it. I don't know why, but it was, I can't even really tell you what it was.
Okay.
I just decided no.
Fair enough.
So, oh man.
Dude,
these yawns are going to get me, dude.
So you've had till Wednesday to catch up on sleep. Plus, you sleep more at Good Life than you do at home.
So the problem was that's not true this weekend because I didn't work for 72 hours straight leading up to it like I did at PPIR. And so I wasn't that tired when we got there. And so I didn't really sleep that much more. I was kind of pissed at myself because I woke up really early every morning.
Yep. Same here.
But anyway, so yeah, we bought this one. It's got 149,000 miles. It was the least miles of any of the ones that we looked at. It was the least rust of any of the ones that we looked at. It does have a little bit of rust.
Does it really?
Showing through on the driver's side right above where the bumper meets the quarter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you definitely can't see it in pictures.
And then the hood is completely matte,
sun baked.
Yeah, I think that's all it is.
Yeah, it looks like it's just been sitting in the sun, like a Florida car would.
I can't imagine anything I really care less about.
No.
For a minivan that she's probably just going to crash into something with anyway.
Just put a Trans Am Eagle or
No, Robbie.
That'd be awesome.
I'm not doing that crap.
You should do that.
Put a big Honda sticker on there, maybe. Now I'm a Honda fan. I don't know if you know this or not. It's been just literally 8 minutes over 24 hours of Honda ownership, and I'm fucking all in.
Okay, we'll get you some Honda stickers. That's easy.
That's not true. I'm not all in yet.
It's okay. We're gonna make it a big Honda thing. It's gonna say Honda on the front. It's gonna have the big H logo in the center. It's gonna be great.
Should I get custom license plate that say Honda on it?
Yeah, it'll confuse everybody. No one have a freaking clue what you're talking about.
Yeah. Everyone's got to get that blackout plate.
Yeah, you definitely need the blackout plate because that's what everybody has.
Yeah. So the biggest selling point for me on this one
is that it's green.
It's gray, Rob.
No, it's not. That is not gray.
No, dude, it's fucking dark gray. I don't care what sort of terrible color. When you see it in real life, it's dark gray.
It's green in the pictures.
That's fine, but that's not what color it is. It's dark gray. I will allow you to try and claim that the Focus was green. This is absolutely positively dark gray when you see it.
Okay, the picture when you're standing from the picture where it's the passenger side looking at it from the fender, totally green.
It's gray. It's dark gray. It's like gunmetal gray.
No way.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
There's a hue of green to that. There's no way it's gunmetal.
Whatever, dude.
My Koenigs are gunmetal.
Whatever, dude. Same fucking color.
All right. So
Anyway.
so your next green car.
So the other ones we looked at, this basically Honda recommends that you replace the timing belt every 90 to 100K.
Yep.
And you can maybe push that out towards the 120 mark. Seems like that's kind of a common thing to do. The other two I looked at, one of them being at 180 and the other one being at 150. Neither one of those people, despite owning them from just south of 100, could or had ever replaced their timing belts, which tells me that they never were.
Yeah, there's no way they were.
And so, like, the one I looked at 179,000 miles on it, and he was asking $4,600 for that. And I was like, man, the best I can do is $3,600 because it's going to have to go straight into a mechanic shop to get $1,000 worth of work done on it.
Oh, yeah.
If I even get it home before that timing belt lets loose. It's a ticking time bomb, man.
It is
you're
just
almost
like
double the Honda accepted time frame for this to be replaced in.
And because that engine's in there,
It's transverse.
Yeah. So that's kind of a pain.
Yeah, it's about $1,000.
Ugh. Well, you could do it in your driveway for like.
Yeah, I don't want to do that again. So that's a multi-cam engine.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fucking dick with that stuff again. It was a pain in the ass in the Audi. And I'd rather, like, it was the biggest thing was like, even if I did do it myself, like that's $1,000 job. I'm not going to pay you full book value for your vehicle.
No.
When I know it has a big problem right off the bat. I'm just not doing it.
No, I wouldn't either. And good on you for doing the research to know that.
Yeah. Well, my research involved me text messaging my Honda fanatics and being like, hey, what do we need to look out for in these J series? Like, oh yeah, they're fine, but that timing belt every 90K. I'm like, all right, cool. So, and then you ask those people, they go, what's a timing belt? Okay, got it.
Yep.
So your 180,000 mile van is a ticking time bomb. Cool.
Yep.
So this one, it said that it had been done recently. I asked him about it. He said it had been done about 10,000 miles ago. So he pushed the limit on that too.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's got 149 on it, but it's been replaced. So, I mean, I figure I'll probably replace it around 200K just to be safe if I still have it at that point. But even that pushes that way down the road.
Yeah, definitely. Because you're not putting 20,000 miles a year on it.
No, probably not. So, but yeah, other than that, the steering wheel is crooked.
What do you mean crooked?
Like it's like when you're driving down the road, in order for it to go straight, you got to turn it a little bit.
Oh, so it needs an alignment or something like that?
Well, so I asked, I was like, what's the deal with the steering wheel? He says, I don't know. I've had it for like 40,000 miles or something like that. And it's been that way the whole time I've owned it. And I'm like, well, I mean, does it eat tires? Like, no, not really. And the tires that are on it, they're not new. They got plenty of life left in them, but they're not brand new. And they're all wearing evenly. So it's probably going to bother me enough that I'm going to get it fixed.
So it could just be as simple as
I'm hoping that it's
adjusting your steering shaft.
Like, right. I'm hoping that it's just like a bad alignment. Like somebody didn't have the steering wheel straight.
Been there.
I don't know. So then the other thing, I mean, I took it for a drive and everything seemed fine. He claims he replaced the brakes on it recently. Kind of hard to tell. You can't really see in the wheel enough to look in the brake and see if the brake pad looks reasonable or not. But I mean, there were brakes on it. It stopped.
So you should replace those for like $30, I bet.
Yeah, they can't be that expensive. And, like there was no like obvious oil leaks or seeping or anything like that underneath it, underneath the hood. It looked to be in decent overall condition mechanically.
Yep.
Drove it for a little while, seemed fine, went back, talked him down a little bit on it, paid him cash money, Robbie.
Ugh.
Cash money. He did actually kind of seem shocked that I was giving him cash.
Yeah.
And also annoyed that he had to count it out.
Yep.
And I gave him a sealed envelope, so I don't know why he needed to count it out, but whatever.
Because you can't trust anybody, man. Because when you have that much money, you just got to All right, hold on. I got to count all of this instead of you just writing out or sending me.
Man, it was hundos. What do you want from me?
At least there weren't 20s.
No.
It took all damn day.
Yeah. The lady's like, when I went into the bank, I pulled the money out like a couple weeks ago. And I went into the bank to get it, right?
Yep.
And the lady's like, "How would you like this?" I was like, "Hundreds." Like, does anybody else take out large sums of cash in anything but
tens, please?
Yeah, a mixture of ones, tens, and 20s, please. Going to Vegas this week.
Yeah, and one small stack of fives, just to really screw with people.
So, but yeah, and then as I'm driving it home, I'm like slowly kind of talking myself into believing that maybe there's something wrong with the transmission.
What's that like?
And I can't decide still right now, like 24 hours later. I haven't driven it today, but I can't decide if I've just talked myself into believing that I made a bad decision or if I did make a bad decision.
That's how it was with the 8-speed on the Silverado, because it's notorious for having that stutter.
Right,
they all do it, but some are worse than others. So, like, I mean, it's there. There's no denying it, but it's fine, I guess.
So I don't know, man. I'm gonna take it down to my dad. We're going to my parents this weekend anyway, so I'm gonna take it down there, put it up on the lift, kind of get a look underneath it, look at it a little closer. I don't know, man. I'm probably just overreacting.
Was it like stuttering or jumping or like
a little
shuddering?
bit. Like when it shifts, I think the second to third shift is like a little bit rougher than I think it should be.
Oh, like it's just noticeable.
Yeah. And I don't know. There's just something about it.
Yeah. No, I test drove a truck that was that way. Like before I bought the Avalanche, I think.
Okay.
I test drove a truck and it was like first to second was like slam.
Like, it's not that.
Nope, not doing
dramatic.
that. I brought it back. I was like, yeah, this isn't the truck for me. I'm sorry.
It's not that dramatic, but like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. The front bumper doesn't quite fit around the driver's side headlight quite right. And then there's the steering wheel's a little crooked. And for a minute there when I got it home, I was trying to talk myself into believing that the hood had been repainted rather than just faded, which I've kind of moved on from that to accepting the fact that it's just faded. But like, I don't know why, but for some reason, I'm just trying to talk myself into believing that I made a bad decision.
Is the roof,
like, it's got a clean title.
Is the roof faded?
I don't know. I haven't even looked.
Well, now I'm going to make you real paranoid. If the roof isn't faded and the hood is, why is that, Adam?
I fucking know, Robbie.
I'm sorry. I had to. I'm an asshole. Why does the bumper not match the fenders, Adam?
I don't know. But see, like, so now I'm like, oh, maybe the steering wheel's crooked and the transmission shifts like shit and the bumper doesn't fit and the hood's been repainted because this thing got wiped out in the front.
Yeah, maybe it's... Does it have motor mounts? Or are they just... is the whole thing just shifting in there sideways?
Yeah.
Or crooked like?
Yeah.
Dude, I fucking hate the first week after buying a car. Because I'm always convinced it's a mistake. I'm always convinced... Like, I always have buyer's remorse because I'm convinced it's a time bomb. Especially when I bought that truck.
Like, since the Audi was nearly brand new in mileage when I bought it. So that was nothing but, euphoria buying that. That changed eventually. But at the beginning, I was just excited. And then the S10 was, I bought the S10 next. And, I got that in pieces and I fixed all those things. And at first it ran great and it was hilarious. And I was excited to be rid of the bane of my existence that the Audi turned into. And so there was no buyer's remorse there. And then the Blazer was so cheap that I didn't really care,
Right. And
then the last minivan that I bought was also super duper cheap, and so I wasn't that worried about it. And the Cavalier was even cheaper yet, and that it came from a known source, so I wasn't that worried about it. Well, now this thing, I kind of spent some decent money on it, for me anyway, and I don't know. I think I'm just overthinking it.
No, I did the exact same thing with the truck because it had that the coil pack went out as I was leaving the dealership, and then brought it back and like, hey, I can't drive this home. And they're like, yeah, well, we'll fix it, but you're not going to get it for a week now. It's like, okay,
right.
So now I'm going to have a car delivered to me that's now mine, 100% mine. Okay, but it didn't run when I left the dealership after I bought it.
Yeah.
And I just spent the most money I've spent on anything besides a house.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most money I've spent on any one thing in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose when I bought my furnace, it was roughly the same amount of money, but that was brand new, and it came with a warranty. So there's like little to no worry to that, because if it didn't work, I just made a phone call and it fixed.
I say the truck gave me. I had a 6,000-mile warranty from the dealer. Okay,
right.
Well, because it was right before the factory warranty expired, and then I had a few thousand miles on the dealer warranty. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I feel okay about this. And then, it's been fine ever since.
And so I called my dad this afternoon, and I'm talking to him. Like, I don't know if I'm trying to have him talk me into or out of this thing, and he's like, well, if you don't feel comfortable with it, take it back to the guy and tell him you want your money back. I'm like, man, I can't do that.
No, I'm pretty sure the bill of sale said as is.
Yeah, I mean, this is my mess now.
Yep, that's how it goes.
So I don't know. It's probably fine.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But because you're worried about it, I'm going to tell you that it's not fine.
Yeah,
and
I know.
That bumper doesn't match because there's a problem.
An asshole.
That's not true. We're all assholes. None of us are nice to each other. Like this whole past weekend, nobody said anything nice to each other the whole time. I told Dalton this car's never getting done. It's just going to sit at the shop forever.
Yeah,
like,
but
I said that like a lot of
true,
times.
Robbie.
I said that a lot of times.
It's true, Robbie. That's different.
Someday he'll get that Corvette back.
I mean,
you never know when.
Probably someday, like 2023.
Yeah, and it might even get done this year. But I'm not going to tell him that. I'm going to tell him it's never getting done.
It might be done now, for all I know. I haven't really talked to him much today. It's not the point.
Yeah, I mean, were you guys nice to me about everything I was doing? No, of course not. Everyone's mean to me.
I bought fucking fake coconuts to pretend like I'm a horse following around.
But we'll get into that. So yeah, when you buy a car and you're worried about it, I'm not going to tell you everything's fine.
That's fair.
Because nothing's ever fine,
fair.
Adam.
I know. Nothing is ever fine, though, Robbie. That's the problem.
I know. It's always raining. Shit. It's always raining shit.
It's not raining. That's the problem, too.
Everything's on fire. Literally, everything's on fire.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
This presentation of us saying that everything's not good is presented by Factory Fabrication, factoryfabrication.com. If you need to get caged or railed, head over to factoryfabrication.com, call Booney or talk to Booney and say, hey, here's my design and this is what I want. It'll make it happen, whether it's furniture, stairs, railings, cages. We talked about 2 weeks ago. I mean, it could be any type of cage. It's not that's up to you. He's got some really cool like custom furniture that he's done that I don't think he advertises enough. Like they're his design and like really unique stuff. So yeah, if you want to, actually I think it's on his store right now. If you go to the website, chairs, there it is, store chairs. He's got really cool custom chairs that he makes.
Such a talented individual.
He really is.
So
yeah, if you want to make your house look better, safer, head over to factoryfabrication.com. Or actually, it could be your business because he did all of Eatery A's interior. And it looks freaking gorgeous. Factoryfabrication.com.
Robbie, what'd you do this weekend?
I checked something off of my bucket list. I went racing. Like racing.
Like real
racing.
Position.
Yes, I did my
We didn't even do that when we went go-karting, Robbie.
No?
I mean, it's supposed to be for time.
Oh, yeah, it is, wasn't it? It wasn't for position. Mm-hmm. We never did it for position.
Mm-hmm.
Whack. Yeah, I did my first GLTC race, and it was awesome. Actually, I described it to Jess, like the feeling I felt like in my like the days afterwards, not just like that weekend, but like the drive home or Monday or even today. I described it to Jess as the only other good feeling like that stuck with me that I could think of that I felt this good about was the first time I had sex. That's how good it felt to be racing.
You're supposed to tell your wife that, like, the week after our wedding.
I didn't.
That whole time.
That's what she said. She said, not the first time we had sex, just the first time ever, right? Yep, got it. Yep. No, she was real. She picked up on that real fast. That was not the words I used. But no, like that. Not the like that nervousness, like that butterfly nerves, but like that like flying high. Like I'm.
Holy shit! Did that just happen?
Yeah, exactly. Like you're looking back, going, I got that girl. I mean, I did that race. That feeling, like, I don't care that I was fighting for a like way backpack position. It was fucking incredible.
Good. So, I couldn't be more happy for you, honestly. Like, for real. I know I've been giving you a lot of shit about it, but it's awesome. I was worried that this was going to be like, you were going to be like, man, this is giving me anxiety. This is kind of too much. I'm still not ready for this yet. This is not where I want to be now. That was my biggest concern, is because like when I signed up, I had a lot of anxiousness. Like I had the ticket, I had the plan, I had, the car was basically, almost ready. And like I'm sitting down second guessing myself. I was like, what happens if I blow a turn and slam into somebody? What happens if my brakes fail? What if I totally, what if I'm so far off pace, I'm just like 30 car lengths behind last place? What if I completely botched my calculator and my car's not even close to competitive? Or any number of worst case scenarios. I that's exactly where my head went. Of you're not ready for this. You make mistakes in time attack, you're going to make even worse mistakes in racing. Like that was what hit me immediately after I hit send or buy it now for the tickets. But as I prepped for it, and I've been kind of prepping for this, like, gosh, ever since I started doing track days. Like this has always kind of been that next stretch goal was, I did HPD with the stretch goal of going to time attack, and then the time attack was going to wheel to wheel, and that was always the stepping stone process for me. So I've always looked at it like I'm doing this leading to this. Like I'm always thinking about getting better for racing. So like I read Ross Bentley's books cover to cover. It's like I'm trying to like understand the concepts all the way through. So real nervous, we'll just say 2 months ago. Last week leading up to it, I shocked myself with how calm I was about the whole thing. I wasn't worried about all that stuff. Like I was actually it kind of worried me about how not worried I was. I got to I got to like loading up the car on Thursday. It's just like I'm gonna be on track racing with the GLTC guys tomorrow, like practicing qualifying. The biggest field ever.
Yeah, 50 plus cars depending on what session it was in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really shocked at how not nervous I was leading up to the event, like the week of, and actually at the event. Because like at time attack, I'll like even in recent times I'll be pacing and just kind of anxious, not necessarily worried or anything like that, just anxious to get on track. I was shockingly calm.
Do you think that was maybe because you had no expectations of being competitive this weekend? Whereas when you go to a mid-div event, you are on the pointy end of your class and you're fighting for the lead, and so there's something on the line? Yeah, maybe. And I think that for sure helped. I think the fact that I went in there with my two real goals were don't fuck up. Don't be a highlight reel of what not to do. So, spoiler alert, mission accomplished on that. And then my second goal was don't get last place. And that was kind of like, if I get last place, it's not the end of the world. Like, it happens.
And I didn't get last place, so that's nice.
Someone's got to be the slowest one out there, Robbie.
I did that last year in time attack. I don't need to do it 2 years in a row with the same car.
That's fair.
So yeah, those are my 2 goals, and then my third goal, which was like a huge stretch goal that I knew wasn't really realistic, was a top 25. But, if everything went so well, and like for some reason these, I did the calculator just right, and like this ridiculous setup I have just works, top 25, which of course I didn't do, but that's okay because that wasn't really a realistic goal. But leading up to the event, how Grid Life has it set up is if you're new and you haven't done any wheel-to-wheel, but you've got enough track experience, like a couple years of time attack, either with Grid Life or with other sanctioning bodies like SCCA or Moon Racing or stuff like that. And I'm sorry, I was watching your face the whole time.
No. Oh, no.
So, but like we've talked about this in the past, like I listed out my track experience, and it's like an entire page long of just time attack and track day stuff. And I met their qualifications for the comp evaluation. So I went back and forth with Scott Giles, who is their, because Renee's the race director. So I guess would Scott be like the coach? I honestly don't know his title. But Scott was like the go-to guy.
I don't remember offhand.
No.
Something to do with the new guys.
Yeah, so he was kind of like the rookie coach, and I know that's not his title, but that's kind of what he was. So we emailed back and forth, make sure like the car was prepped and confirmed that I was coming, and then just kind of like some pre-event stuff to go over. Like the week of, he wanted me to practice egressing, like all my stuff on, buckled in, net on, helmet on, all that stuff, and try to get out of the car in 20 seconds by going through the window. And I kind of panicked because I remember when I bought the car, you're like, can you get out that window with a helmet on? And I was like, yeah.
Yep.
You're like, are you sure? No. And I had that moment. I was like, I'm pretty sure I confirmed that I could, but I couldn't remember at the time. So I practiced, and I was able to do it pretty easily because I weigh next to nothing. It's kind of easy to climb out a window when you're super skinny. Yeah, so that wasn't a big deal. But again, like I got the email, I was like, oh, fuck, can I do that? I should probably be able to do that. I'm sure not everybody can do that. If I can't do it, surely someone else can't. But it wasn't like a test either. It was just kind of like this is something you should be able to do. We're going to make sure you can. And it honestly wasn't a problem at all. But it was just a good thing to practice in case the worst goes on. Then we get to the event. We do the rookie meeting, and it's me and I think there's 6 other drivers that are rookies, and just kind of going over the culture. And the culture of Grid Life is, they want competitive, clean racing. Like they're having a highlight reel, somebody posts on YouTube of horrible crash at GLTC. Like that's not what they want at all. Like they want their videos that they're getting posted on YouTube to be like these super competitive, clean races, what Grid Life is literally posting. It's a very competitive club race, and super professional. With Kyle doing the voiceover and all that stuff. It's professional as club racing gets. But the main focus,
I think it might be more professional than some pro racing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely. So we go through the drivers meeting, and the big focus is just on don't be that guy. If you're here chasing after a trophy and you're gonna do it at all costs, don't just pack up and go home. We'll give you a refund. It's not what we're about. It's if you can't 100% for sure make that pass, don't take it. We're not writing off cars. We don't want to write off cars. So they push that into our head pretty heavily. It's well, I would hope that the rookies here aren't trying to win the event like an asshole. I mean, if you got a pass, take it. If it's not for sure, don't take it. But again, I remember TT Nationals a couple years ago. That was my mentality going into it. I've never been to NCM. I'm a rookie. We're in the rookie class, and I was probably the minority with that type of attitude. So I guess I can see why they pushed really hard to make sure that was everyone's on the same page there. And then we did the regular drivers meeting after that, because it was 20 minutes, or actually probably close to a half hour of just the rookies with Scott and Renee, and kind of going over techniques of just saying if this car's here and this car's here, obviously you can't see this because you're listening to a podcast. Do you make the pass? like, or like going into a turn, like, do you make this pass? And you're like, no, that's because that's super dangerous. And like, that's the right answer. If you're not in front of that car before the turn, like, don't take it. It's not worth it. And they always bring up that stupid Senna quote where he says, if there's a gap that you don't take, you're no longer a real racer. He's like, we do not have that mentality here. If that gap is going to close, it's not really a gap. Don't fucking take it. So,
yeah,
which I think is the absolute right attitude to have for club racing when it's all out of pocket and it's supposed to be for fun. This is a hobby. This isn't a profession. This is a bunch of people showing up, pissing away money for an adrenaline rush.
Literally.
I mean, just burning fucking money.
Just lighting it on fire and throwing it out the window.
Yeah, and when it's that dry out, it just burns so fast.
It takes off.
Yep.
Much like a handful of cars this weekend.
Yep. Now, then we did the regular drivers meeting with the rest of the crew, and yeah, it's like, you got all the drivers and a handful of either crew members or spectators or significant others or whatever at the meeting. So, like, there's 56 drivers total. Assuming everybody's car is good, it was 56 cars on track. And so it's a big drivers meeting. So obviously they're pushing, like, this is one of the biggest fields we've ever had. I think it was the biggest ones they've ever had. And one of the bigger fields of any club racing that you'll ever get. Which, again, is kind of one of those, like, maybe my first weekend shouldn't be your biggest one ever.
Yeah, there's some truth to that.
Maybe I should have done it at a track where you have 20 drivers. Maybe that would have been smarter.
Yeah, fuck it.
But it was totally fine. But yeah, get done with the drivers meeting, get my stuff ready. We do practice, and this is where I kind of had that moment of overwhelmingness because it's kind of like a time attack where everyone lines up. You don't know who's supposed to be fast. You assume, like, the regular heavy hitters are going to be in the front, but by the time you put 50 something odd cars on track for a practice session, it's pretty scattered and it's kind of a mess. So like I'm get out there and like the ASM guys like Andy Smedgard and like Tom O'Gorman and like that whole group of guys are basically running in a pack. At this point, they're at like 100%. And I'm still on my warm-up lap. And I haven't driven this car in this setup yet. And I'm nervous. And they come flying up behind me on like turn 8, I think it was. And I just get like I'm just on my line. And then all of a sudden, like 4 cars go. It's like, God, I'm slow. This is not going to go well.
I love how there's the picture you posted to Instagram and Facebook, which is still how I know you're very excited about something, is when you actually cross-post it.
Yep, true story.
To Facebook. Like, oh, he's very excited about this situation. But you're like, it looks like you're racing with Andy Smedegard. Like, come on, Robbie.
I didn't take the picture, but that's a real picture. That's actually me and Andy Smedgard on track together.
Come
racing.
on, Robbie.
I'm pretty sure that was practice or qualifying. It had to be practice or qualifying because that A-pillar's still intact on my car. So yeah, it was early in the weekend when that picture was taken. And I don't care what anybody says. That was me and Andy Smedgard racing for position.
Fucking battling it out.
Battling. Man. We were battling for position. I don't care if he was a lap ahead of me. No, I'm pretty sure that was practice. That picture was taken. But yeah, practice was like kind of a mess just because there were so many cars and they were so spread out, and like you could tell guys like me that are trying to just get up to speed, and then there's guys like Andy Smedgard who's already up to speed and he's practicing racing at this point. Like it's not an HPD time attack practice session. It's everyone's going for it. But that was when that realization, like, yeah, don't worry, dude. You ain't competitive. Don't worry about that at all. Just focus on you, man. And yeah, so practice. I mean, it was fine once I was out there and kind of had that first 2 laps in, and I was able to kind of start pushing the car a little bit. And then once traffic kind of spread out, so I wasn't constantly, looking in my mirrors. And I think people were aware of who were new and who wasn't. I mean, for a 54 car or 50 something odd car field, you had guys that were right up in your mirror, but then they'd make their pass and it was clean, it was fine, it was never an issue. But the only time I was really concerned was during practice, was that I took turn, so we turned 5, I took turn 5 wide. 6, whatever, it doesn't matter. Took the turn wide because there was a car on my inside, and I was going to let him take the inside because they were clearly faster than me. And then all of a sudden, I see him in my mirror. I think it was the G-Speed GT86. Tires were locked up, and he was like spinning off into the grass. And my first thought was, that was my fault. What did I do wrong? And I don't think it actually was my fault. I just think that we kind of put ourselves in a situation, and he needed to brake earlier than he did, and just ended up locking him up. But
Did you figure out who that was?
I've been thinking about it because I thought it was Tiffany Kelly, because it looked like,
went and talked to her
because it looked like a gray and red S2000 in my mirror. That's what I thought it was.
Right.
So I went and talked to her after the race. I was like, or after the practice, I was like, "Hey, did you go in the grass? Did I do something wrong?" She's like, "No, I didn't. It wasn't me." And then on Sunday, I'm blanking on his name, but he drives that gray and red BRZ that has a G-Speed logo on it, and I can't think of his name.
Jensen.
Eric
Jensen?
Right? I don't know if that's the right guy, but that's the car.
Jensen's his last name for sure.
Okay.
But pretty sure it was Eric.
But he was talking to me on Sunday, and I kind of had that epiphany, like, it was you. You were the one that spun. And I didn't have a chance to talk to him about it because at that point I had other stuff I was worrying about with getting my car ready. But I think it was him, and if it was him, he wasn't still mad at me. So I don't think it was my fault. But that was my first thought was, oh, great. That's a great way to start the weekend, is like
already that guy.
Yeah, cause somebody else to to go into the grass or cause an accident. I don't think I actually did anything wrong, but it was just like that first thought of, oh, I didn't want to be that guy. And no one ever brought it up. It never got brought up in a driver's meeting. Like, no one came and found me like late at night with like their buddies. So I don't think it was actually but I didn't want to be that guy, so I was really paranoid about it. Qualifying 1 went okay. It was just kind of a mess because there's so many cars. And of course, at this point, you got guys that are real serious about it, running on stickers, on the pointy end of the stick to begin with. And then there's me, who's like, you got Tom O'Gorman, Brian Highcotter, Andy Smedgard, those type of guys that are running like sub 140s, and I'm at like 147. Like I'm clearly off pace from the leaders, and
right.
So yeah, it was real hard to get a clean lap in qualifying. I think if you're one of the front guys, you could get out in front and you can get it, but if you're like one of the back markers or like even mid pack, you're kind of in traffic the whole time. So it wasn't super easy to get a decent lap, and again, I was fine with that. I accept that. But the problem was on qualifying 2, which because we did qualifying 1 on Friday night and then qualifying 2 Saturday morning, and I was like, I didn't realize how bad Toyo RRs are. On the 240, they never bothered me. I was like, they're okay. No, the ones for some reason the ones I got are like super loud. Like I can hear them like screech really loud. I don't know if there's like a different compound because they're made in different years than what I got on the Z.
Yeah,
but
you wouldn't think.
No, they're only a couple years apart. But like
right.
the one when they were on the 240, there were 275 17s, and I got 295 18s on the Z, and I thought they were okay on the 240. I didn't dislike them. I thought they're not the fastest, but they're fairly consistent, and I'm fairly quick in them. So I thought it'd be a decent tire on the Z, and my God, they're awful, just awful. And I realized that the track was like super dry and dusty, and it was like 98 degrees outside. But like these tires were not loud. I had no feedback at all, audibly. So that was kind of strange to me. I was expecting them to be loud, and they weren't. And then they just were super greasy, like immediately. So yeah, no more Toyo RRs. They're worse than I remember, but that's okay. But qualifying 2 was actually kind of a mess. So we go out. And in Formula One, where they go out for qualifying, then they get to like the last straight or the last turn before the front straight, and they kind of stack them up and then go for it. Yeah, they tried to do that, and that doesn't really work well with a 54 car field because by the time the leaders are halfway through their flyer or 3/4 of the way through their flyer, you still have a front or back straight full of cars. That didn't go over very well, and again, it wasn't like anyone did anything wrong because it's not like you we didn't break any rules because like that is how a lot of qualifying is done. But yeah, it was kind of an unspoken rule that that you can't really do that with a big field like this. So there's some people kind of pissy about the fact that qualifying 2 went so poorly. Again, it didn't really matter to me. I didn't improve my time, and I just qualified at like 40th position or whatever. And so avoided, and I avoided any drama, I guess.
Yeah, you did. You did a good job of staying out of trouble, for sure.
That was the goal.
Right. I know that was the goal, but I mean, mission accomplished, I guess.
Yep. I get up to the race, and then this is where there's the only time I had any complaints really was because there's such a big field is that you go out and you everyone's kind of scrubbing their tires and you do 2 pace laps and then you're supposed to stack up. But like you should stack up before the last turn. So one of the cars in front of me spent literally both laps scrubbing his tires in, like all the way from one side to the other, like scrubbing. And like I'm supposed to be on the left side and he's supposed to be on the right, and we're supposed to be next to each other. He kept going to the left. I think it was like almost like a tactic, like he was pushing me out. So he would like go all the way to the left and stay there. And then I'd try to go up and take my spot. And he just like kind of like pushed me out. I was like, it's like in the video, you can see me just like pointing. I'm like, you're over there. Go to the fucking right. I was so mad. I was like, this is not how I want my first race to start. Like
I remember you got out of the car and you were like mad about it.
I was like, he's not in position.
Like real upset. Like it totally ruined your first race.
No. It didn't ruin the whole thing, but like that was one thing that stuck out.
It stuck out in your head.
Oh yeah. So like, but like that, I was really annoyed because I'm supposed to be on the left side. I'm supposed to be up behind like we're supposed to be fucking stacked. So I'm trying to get up to the car that I'm supposed to be behind, next to the guy that's supposed to be on the right side. So we go down the back straight right before turn 11, and he's still on the left side, and I'm trying to like nose my way to where I'm supposed to be. So like we go to turn 11, and he cuts over, apexes 11, and goes for it. So I'm like all the way on the outside, and so I was annoyed at the fact that he basically took my position, pushed me out, and then I don't know if I should have just been more aggressive and basically just nosed my way up there and said, no, you're going to stay here now. Or maybe he just forgot that he was supposed to be on the right side and kept thinking I was the idiot. But I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. Like they point.
It should be really. I mean, I watched them send you guys out later on in the weekend, and like,
yep,
it's pretty obvious which side he is telling you to be on.
Yep. So I never went and talked to him about it. I didn't want it to turn into something that it wasn't. Because again, we're in 40th position. I'm not gonna argue over like whatever. It wasn't worth it. I'll say this on the show and that's done. That's like that's it. It's like I'm not.
Yeah.
It's whatever. But yeah, that was my only complaint. But then we're going down the front straight, and for whatever reason, this is when my A-pillar molding decides that it's just going to let go. It's done multiple weekends in that configuration, like with the crack in it, no issue. But going down the front straight for my first race, it just gone. Let's go. And then the molding for the windshield is flapping in my windshield or in my window.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that was happening too.
Yep. So that plastic piece just like breaks in half and just flies away. And then the plastic or the rubber molding is just sitting there flapping right in front of my mirror as I'm going into turn 1 in my first race ever. But I did an okay job of just kind of like, okay, ignore that, and then just focus on the race. Yeah, I think I was really impressed with, maybe not impressed isn't the right word, but I was really happy with my ability to flip that switch from qualifying time attack mode to racing mode and being comfortable with the car, right next to my mirror or right next to my bumper in the front or rear, or, it didn't matter. I was
passing
fine.
In corners and stuff like that is even stuff you're not really used to, is it?
Yeah.
I know it's open passing, but generally speaking, people don't go for passes unless...
No, not unless you completely like go offline and point them by. Like I've done that a few times.
So were you trying to battle and hold positions at all this weekend? Or
yeah, I tried to do a conscious, like I could, if they were in the pack of like the guys that we're supposed to be racing with, like around 40th position,
right? Obviously, I don't know. I don't think it happened very much, but at least one event, I think you may have gotten close to being in lap traffic. Or being lap traffic, I should say.
I don't. I
don't think they got as far ahead as you.
I don't think I don't remember getting caught by the leader.
I don't think you ever got caught.
But there was a few races.
There was one race where you had a bunch of guys who were clearly going to be faster than you.
That was race 2. But no, race 3 or race 1. I was really happy with my ability to not be overly worried about the car behind me. Because like in Time Attack, if there's a car behind me in my mirror, like close enough that they're there, I worry about my braking zone because I don't want to brake too early or too late and screw them up.
Right.
And then have it be a problem. But like when we were racing, like that wasn't even in my mind. I was just like, this is where I need to be. This is where I'm going. Like
you need to be conscious of the fact that he's back there.
Yep.
But he's not your problem.
Correct. So no, my off track going into turn one on my first race, very nervous. On track, totally fine. In the moment, like my attention was where it needed to be. I was able to manage everything going on around me. No issue. Race 1 was mostly about just getting comfortable. I wasn't overly aggressive. I wasn't like blocking. I wasn't doing anything like that. There was a couple cars that didn't get to qualify, and I saw them come up and pass cars. Like I knew, like there's obviously no point in trying to battle them. They're going to be working their way to the front. So like we got to I wasn't like I held my position, but like I was just making sure I was like, okay, you go now.
Yeah.
So race 1 was mostly just about getting comfortable in a race setting, not being overly aggressive, not driving over my head, and I think I did an okay job. I don't think I gained it I probably lost a couple of positions on the first lap, but I don't know if I gained anything back. I have to go back and double check. Race 2 was kind of interesting because actually, I'm trying to think. Actually, so the A-pillar thing broke, which really annoys me because come to find out those things are worth their weight in gold. Like $600 if I buy it from Nissan for that little stupid plastic
thing. There's gotta be a better way. Somebody's got to make a fake carbon fiber one that you can buy for $100.
Yeah, you would think, but like the OEM ones, like if I get a used one, they're still like $250, which is really freaking annoying. Had I known that was so expensive, I would have like glued that thing on there and like made sure it was like perfectly fixed because it had like a small crack in it. And I was like, the vinyl will hold it. It's fine. It's got clips. Yeah, that didn't last. So now I got to figure out what I'm going to do to fix that thing without spending a fortune. Very annoyed. But what's another thing that I was happy that I was able to kind of like just mitigate and deal with in the moment was that halfway through the race, my gauges just died. All of them. Everything that was a factory gauge, just done. No RPM, no coolant temp, no oil pressure, no voltage because I didn't have speed anyways. But like all those gauges just dead. And so I was going off of RPM audio. I was shifting when I thought I needed to shift. So more often than not, I was kind of short shifting it. Not a big deal. I was able to handle it and the car was fine. I mean, I paid a little closer attention to my oil temps rather than more than I probably normally do. Like, I mean, I always keep an eye on them, but like I was just, since I can't keep an eye on the water temp, let's keep an eye on the oil temp a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it was fine.
That car's been pretty good to you about that sort of stuff so far, though.
Yeah. My oil temps were super safe. Like it was not a problem.
Right.
But I just wanted to, like, my first thought was, oh, great, now what? But it was just a pop fuse, and I looked into it today, and I think it was just like a frayed wire, because like the fuse that runs traction control, ABS, the gauges, the charging system, and a few other things. So it's like everything that's like the signals for that is run off of this one circuit, and that's the fuse that kept popping. And then today I put a new fuse in it and kind of cleaned up some wiring, and I think I found the fray, and it's fine. It's working right now. So I don't know if it was. I'm not sure if it's not. I still haven't verified that it's not the IPDM module, or if it was just that frayed wire. But yeah, it's working now.
And so that's somehow tied to your charging system, you think?
Yep. So like on the list of things that it does, the charging signal is part of that. So like it wasn't telling the alternator to do its thing.
So we had Ford does that apparently as well. We had a Ford bucket truck that the gauge cluster had a malfunction, and that shut off the alternator because there was, for whatever reason, the signal wire to the alternator to like make power came from the gauge cluster.
Yep, that's exactly it. Same thing.
Like,
so,
but why?
I don't know, because I that's a lot of things to go off of that one fuse.
Yeah, and like the one of my Blazer is like a much simpler, more like logical approach to that.
Yeah, as it should be. So,
right.
So I don't
know if that's something you can change.
I don't know. I can replace the IPDM for like $60. I know there's something goofy going on there because like that was the deal with like the headlights flashing and the blinkers turning on when they felt like it. But I kind of wired around that. But if it's still going to give me issues with other things, I might need to just replace it. So I thought I fixed that. Didn't realize that had anything to do with the charging system at the time. So I go up for race 2, and my gauges are working now at this point because I fixed the fuse. I'm like, okay, we're good. And I get up to grid, and I notice that my battery or my voltage is like slightly under 12. And like I'm used to seeing it kind of like go all the way up to like 14.4. And so I'm like, okay, that's not good. And then the battery light comes on. I was like, okay, all right, well, I'll keep an eye on that. We're still running good at this point. So we go out and do race 2, not even halfway. I bet it was like second pace lap. My gauges die again. And I was like, okay, we're just gonna go. And then if something starts to feel funny, I'll just come in and just, we'll throw the race away. It's fine. Made the whole race, no issue. Came back in and parked it. Yeah, so really nothing notable. I think kind of the same thing. Like race 2 was kind of like race 1, where I didn't really have a lot of close battles. Like there was cars around me, but like the only real thing was that 6 cars had been DQ'd from like the top 10, so they started in the back. So I just kind of got out of their way because they're way faster than me. But besides that, it was a pretty uneventful race for me. Like there was a pretty decent gap from the cars in front of me to the cars behind me. So it was actually really kind of a lonely race, I guess. Came in and checked the battery, and it was like slightly above 11 volts. So I knew it wasn't charging. So we charged the battery overnight. And, that was also when I realized that my exhaust had fallen off the hanger on one of the hangers, and it was dragging my Y pipe. So I have like a big old hole in my Y pipe. And so it's like super loud now. So like we're going to go to South Haven and just get some just mend it, get a new hanger and kind of hang it up, and then get some of that wrap and like one of those band clamps just to kind of hold that the part that had scraped itself a big hole in it, just cover that a little bit. But of course, South Haven was at a rolling blackout all Saturday night, and so yeah, we drove into South Haven, realized that we couldn't buy anything, came back. Then got up first thing in the morning, and I was able to mend that. Again, had the battery charged. At this point, I wasn't even bothering replacing the fuse on the gauge cluster. And this is long before I realized that had anything to do with the charging system. So I just stopped messing with that. So I was like, all right, we're just going to go without gauges. We've done it all weekend. We're going to keep going. And the exhaust thing only lasted like 10 minutes before it was like right back to where it was. But the rigged up hanger that I did around the transmission mount helped keep it off the ground this time, so that's good. But race 3 was tops, so good. I got on like in the front straight. It was real tight the whole way through, and then I was battling with these Miatas for probably the first half of the race, and then like they got in front of me, and then I passed them both going out of turn 10, and then stayed in front of them the rest of the race. And then around this would be like lap 6 or 7. Everyone that was like in my pack of like, around the 35 to 40th place, because a lot of us are running like Toyo RRs and like shit tires, and then the guy in the Miatas behind me, you could tell their tires are falling off because they're like further and further back, and then the Honda Civic in front of me, same thing. Like, yeah, I could see him like sliding through corners and stuff, and like I'm catching him more and more and more. But like I'm doing the same thing because my tires are clearly falling off. But like we all know how well I do with tires as they fall off. The worse the tire is, I seem to do better. So I was actually able to catch him, and if I would have had one more lap, I would have had him, because going into turn 3, I was basically right side by side, but like it was one of those like I could make this pass, but my experience and my my aggressiveness isn't here. So like I was up next to him, but like we took it real like a safe conservative turn 3 together, and he ended up taking the wider line and getting the whole shot on me. But yeah, I think if I would have been more aggressive, I easily could have took him in turn 3. And then same with like turn 10 and 11. We were like basically side by side. I was on the inside, he was on the outside. And I think if I would have like dove a little bit further, I could have took it, but it was the same thing. I was like, I'm not willing to make that risk in my first weekend. And him and I talked quite a bit after the race. So I was like, man, that was so good. Like he's like, if you had one more lap, man, you had it.
That's the cool thing about that group of guys, though.
Yeah, for sure. Because like I'm talking to like doesn't matter what position I'm in. Like the guys that are around me, we're battling. We want to be racing each other, but none of us want to have issues. Like none of us want to like aggressively push somebody out or have an incident or anything like that. Like we just want clean racing. So yeah, I mean, if someone gets the best of me, that's great. Let's talk about it. If I get the best of you, that's great. It's just racing. It's not worth getting upset about. So yeah, we were talking about that. It was cool to have such a competitive race, because I battled these two cars for like the first half, and then I battled this other car for the last half, and like we all talked about it afterwards, and it was like we're all pumped about it. I'm still pumped about it. Yeah, race 3, the best time of my life. Like having sex for the first time, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Don't tell my wife.
You say so, man.
It's the best.
You say so.
It's the best. I remember when Adam Jabe was on the show, and he was talking about how great the racing is in the back, and he's so pumped about it. He actually prefers racing in the back because it's more competitive, or not competitive, but like more. It's closer racing in the back because the guys are closer together. I was like, yeah, okay, dude. If you're not in the front, then whatever. No, I totally get it, man. It's the best.
Mid pack is the best pack.
Yep. Mid pack's good. If I could make it to mid pack, I'd be really happy.
Yeah.
But no, when Jabe was talking about just like how good the racing is everywhere, he's right. It's the best. Granted, I don't have anything to compare it to, but it was freaking great. And race 4, I'm pretty tired at this point. Like hot, like it's been 90 degrees for like 3 straight days. I've been fighting issues with my car.
Yep.
Car's still running good though. I'm not fighting over any overheating. My tires are, dead. And just like I'm convinced my alternator's dead, so I'm keeping the battery charged. Don't have gauges. I think the rest of the stuff's just like, I'm sure I'm missing something. Yeah, whatever. It's not important. Just like goofy stuff was going on, and so we go out for race 4, and actually, like the attrition rate was pretty bad because I think that was the smallest race for when it came to car count. Granted, it was still like well into the 40s, if not still 50, but like it was the smallest race, I think. Because like I want to say JB was out of there. I don't know if JB even went out, because I remember him leaving like quite a bit earlier than I expected him to, like from Grid Life, I mean. But there's a handful of cars that I know didn't make it out. But it wasn't quite as competitive as race 3. Like I battled with Patrick Reyes with the Zest 2000, and that was only because he made. That was only because he made a mistake and fell quite a ways back,
right? And
then had to catch up and get back to where he should have been. So that we had a few good laps together, because he was clearly the faster car. And so we battled, and he got the pass on turn 9. And then, but by doing so, he kind of set him up poorly for turn 10. So I was able to get back right next to him right before turn 10. But kind of the same thing where it's like I'm not going to be overly aggressive and cause an incident. But at the same time, I totally went too far into turn 10 and kind of pushed him wide. And like my first thought was, fuck, I'm the asshole that pushed him wide. And then we finished the race. We battled back and forth. He got ahead of me, and then I just tried to keep up the rest of the way. And it was good. And then like we get done. I talked to him afterwards, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to push you into 10." And he's like, "No man, I knew it wasn't on purpose, and it was all good." I was like, oh, I don't want to be that guy. which is cool that like your instinct isn't, oh, he's pushing me wide, what an asshole. Your instinct is, oh, he made a mistake, or he braked later than he meant to. And again, like we both had plenty of room, like we were far from each other, like we both had track, but it was still like I wanted to be on the inside and give him room rather than push him wide and have me be in the middle of the track. But again, no boops, no accidents, no nothing. It was fine. And yeah, I was able to talk to him about it, and it was cool. But I pull into pits, and we go around the corner and start to go up the pits kind of by the timing tower, and then all of a sudden my car throws itself into limp mode. I finished the race. Now I'm in limp mode. So I pull over to the side. I'm like, what is going on? I have no gauges, so I have no freaking clue. But I can't drive. I can't get up the hill to go. I can't get up and out of pits because it goes uphill. So I had to get towed, which of course they're kind of busy, and then it's the end of the weekend, so like everyone's just like, okay, another tow. So he towed me back to pits. I didn't even want to mess with it. I was just like dragging on the damn trailer. Let's go home. I'm tired. But I looked at it once I got home I got home Sunday night, and then just kind of left the truck and trailer on the driveway and dealt with it on Monday. And I pulled the car off the trailer and then set it next to the shop and just put a battery pack on it. And once it got almost to 12 volts, it took itself out of limp mode. So I think what happens is when that car gets below 11 volts, it throws itself into limp mode. So I was able to have just enough charge to finish the race. And as I finished the race, it hit 11 volts or whatever the actual voltage is, and then it threw itself into limp mode. So that's good. I was kind of concerned. I was like, because it was giving me like really weird communication errors for the check engine light, like saying that like the ECU is not talking to things type errors. I'm like, oh god, now what? But it was just because it needs 12 volts or whatever, and it's only getting 11, and it's giving really goofy readings. So that's good. Yeah. So now it's just race 3. I totally forgot that in the midst of this battle of race 3, I lose 5th gear and 6th gear. And so I did the rest of the race in first in basically 3rd and 4th gear, because like in my car going down the back straight for about a third of it, I'll be in 5th gear. Right before then, I brake in the braking zone, and then but for the rest of the weekend, I would basically go all the way to the top of 4th, then I'd kind of coast for a little bit, brake, and then take the turn for turn 11. And then I really didn't need to have anything besides 3rd and 4th the rest of the race. So I was able to make do, and so like I knew I was going to have to do a lot of transmission work, but I looked into it on Monday, and my understanding is that if you have 1st through 4th, that's a good sign, because 5th gear is actually the driving gear that drives all the other gears. So that's still intact. So what I think I broke was there's like a oh god, what do I call it? Not important. But there's a bulk ring for 5th gear. There's a sleeve for 5th and 6th, and then there's like 3 keys that go into the, not the synchro because it's not what it's called, but so I think what happened was I broke the 3 keys that go into the sleeve, so I don't have 5th and 6th, but I have everything else. So I think I can tear it apart, and these are the part that I don't have to press off, I don't think. So I should be able to just replace the components for 5th and 6th that I broke, and everything else is good to go. Otherwise, I got to buy a $2,000 transmission. I don't want to do that.
Gross.
Yeah. No, I was but because it happened on race 3, I was so pumped about how good the race was. I didn't even stress about the fact that I just lost 5th and 6th gear. In theory, the whole transmission.
Wasn't that your best lap of the weekend?
The best lap of the weekend I did was a 145 something on lap 8 of race 3. So after everyone else's tires,
second half of the race, no less.
So after my tires and everyone else's tires were completely dead, best lap of the weekend. Not just the race, the weekend.
Classic Robbie.
I just need to have people around me. I need reasons to go faster, I guess. But it was good. So besides the laundry list of things to fix before the next event, the biggest being the transmission, of course. I have a plan for what I want to do with front aero. That I took the splitter penalty because my bumper. Well, my bumper's not exactly an effective splitter now, is it? So I'm going to do some work there. Do a better job with redoing the air dam. I'm going to do better ducting for and actually get louvers for the hood rather than just the openings. See if I can make that actually work. But yeah, besides the transmission, I think everything else is good because I brought the alternator in and got it tested today, and the alternator's good. But yeah, I think there was just that charging system, so I got to keep an eye on that and maybe do some more testing to make sure that it's not going to constantly keep doing what it did at Grid Life. And my kill switch. I think that also needs to be replaced because I think the connection between the alternator and the rest of the car is not great. I think it's inconsistent. So and it could just be. So I should have been getting battery power when it was on at the alternator, and I wasn't. So I got to fix a few things. The transmission being the main one. I'll get that taken off this weekend, and there's a guy in Des Moines with a Y pipe, so I can replace that for next to nothing. But he's on vacation this week.
And you said you're just going to replace that with a stock one?
Yeah, I kept burning my heel because the
oh, that's right.
Because that pipe goes right below the tunnel where my foot is, or right next to the tunnel where my foot is. So I didn't leave an actual blister, but it did for sure. I could feel it for the last couple of days that it kind of burned my foot. So I gotta do some DEI heat reduction stuff going on down there too. But I mean, it's just a 3-inch pipe. So the Y pipe, the difference between the stock Y pipe and the aftermarket Y pipe is basically nothing. So, and that actually has heat shields on it, so that'll help too.
Yeah,
and he only wants $50 for it, so we'll give it a try.
Cheap is cheap, man.
Yep. Nope. Yeah, and if
turn that down.
And if I can rebuild the transmission and not have to buy a new one, that won't be too bad either. But yeah, I have different plans for tires and aero, but I'd like to make it to PPIR. If that's not an option or it just doesn't work, Heartland Park for sure is the hard deadline that I want to be at. So I'll be at Topeka with it again for GLTC. I feel like I gotta, for a track that I know a lot of people haven't been to, I feel like I could be a little bit more competitive than 36th place.
It definitely won't hurt.
No, I don't think so.
Smaller group too, which
it should be a smaller group. It's a track I'm familiar with, probably the track I'm most familiar with. And then I think I can make the car more competitive. I'm not saying it's going to be a dramatic jump from 36th place up to 10th because that's not reality. But I think I can move up the pack a little bit with a few changes.
Yeah. I don't know what just happened in my kitchen, but
I heard it.
I heard Katie screaming and then stomping. So
maybe you found a mouse.
I hope that's the case because that will be hilarious for me.
Yep.
So hopefully she doesn't drown it like she did the last one she caught. Because she caught it in a plastic container, right? Like a Tupperware container.
Yeah.
and then couldn't bring herself to just throw it out the outside because, well, obviously it's just going to come right back inside again. So she put like some sticks and leaves and stuff in the container and then set it in our, at the time, vacant neighbor's house. And then it rained and it drowned in the Tupperware container.
Oh, so the Tupperware was big enough that it could.
Right. She used one
out.
that was like 8 inches deep and like 4 inches square.
Yeah.
And so it couldn't get out, and it didn't get enough rain to be able to float out. And so it drowned in there instead. And I was like, well, way to go, Katie. You really nailed that one. Thank God you rescued him.
Well, I mean, you live next to a field. You're kind of like my house. You're just going to have mice once in a while.
Yeah, in the fall, especially. They come out of the woodwork, literally.
Yep. So knock on wood, I haven't dealt with that in a while. So,
well, you got the snakes, Robbie.
That's true.
I don't have the snakes. I've yet to see a single snake in my house.
I have not seen a snake.
Yard.
I have not seen a snake this year.
That's because it's brutal, gross hot.
Yep. So that's all I got for Grid Life.
Okay.
If everyone wants to head over to mypetrobox.com, make sure you get your Petrobox, your monthly subscription box with car care products, T-shirts, other cool automotive-based things, or even dog leashes and collars and stuff like that. Josh LePetre actually just sent me a picture today of his new dog's collar that he just got from Petrobox. I think it was the golf livery one that you got.
Hell yeah, it was.
Yep. Kyle's still rocking the carbon fiber one, and Yancey's still rocking the what is the one?
HKS?
Yeah, there you go, HKS. I drawn a blank there for a second. But yeah, if you want cool stuff to show up at your house, use the code TTP15 for 50% off first box, or anything that's currently available in the store, whether it's T-shirts or masks, or hopefully, I guess probably won't need to wear masks too much longer, hopefully. And then or dog collars as well. You use the code TTP15. And if you want to get a box every month, don't forget that if you get a monthly subscription, you're automatically entered into the drawing to get a free set of Rotiform wheels that they give away every month. They're still doing that, and I feel like that is not as well known as it should be.
Yeah,
because that's a pretty decent odds to get a set of free wheels. I mean, it's way better than the lottery or anything else that you spend money on. When you think you're like, I could win money. No. Your odds of getting a set of wheels through Petrobox are much greater than anything you have at the casino, I promise. So mypetrobox.com, use code TTP15. I'm actually not wearing a Petrobox shirt for once. Neither are you.
Oh, neither am I. No, I'm supporting Booney today, despite the fact that he hates me.
He does hate you.
I'm supporting Randy.
There you go.
Randy's my man.
Randy will appreciate that.
Yeah.
I wore my Petrobox stuff for this weekend, though.
Yeah. So I got a few things to add to my weekend adventure.
Yes.
Both at and away from the Grid Life event. On the way there, as it is often the case, we had trailer problems.
You don't say.
So Dalton's Monster Stacker lost a hub about an hour or so out from the racetrack. And after looking over the whole situation, pulling the tire off, kind of looking at it, the general consensus was that the best thing for us to do was maybe pull some weight out of the trailer to be safe, meaning taking 2 out of 3 of the cars that were in there out of there and driving them separately and just kind of maybe backing our pace off a little bit and heading to the racetrack. And then we got 3 or 4 days to figure it out from there. So that's what we did. This weekend, the truck was loaded with Dalton's Camaro because his Corvette is still not ready for racing. Ryan Seiler's Club TR prepped Honda S2000, and his roommate's Chop Top Buick Skyhawk for the Chop Top Challenge, which is a thing that a lot of the Grid Life buddies do. I guess it's some sort of like kind of road rally-esque event. But the stipulations for entering are that you have a vehicle that was never a convertible or open top vehicle, that you cut off the entire roof, including all of the glass, the windshield and all.
I didn't.
So
I
he
didn't.
drove.
Yes, I
What's
didn't
that?
realize. I didn't realize that was legal. And I was talking to him, and he goes, "Yeah, the law just says you have to have wiper blades. It doesn't say you actually have to have a windshield."
Right. So it's very gray area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's legal. It's not legal. I mean, so far he hasn't gotten pulled over. That's what's really the biggest thing about it.
Yeah, I'd be curious
So-
if a cop does pull him over, what he'd even do or say.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably like, this is illegal, but I don't know why or how.
Right. So thus far it hasn't been an issue. I wish him the best of luck.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got there. I bet Dalton spent 10 hours this weekend on the phone and on the internet trying to find the bearing that we needed to replace to fix the hub.
Yeah.
And we thought we found it, and we did not find it.
Yeah, I think he was calling people. He had friends and friends of friends calling people. Anyone that had any sort of connection to a truck and trailer.
A friend of his works for a semi truck and trailer repair shop in Chicago.
Yep.
And was planning on coming to hang out with us after he worked on Saturday anyway. And so him and his boss were like pulling strings, making phone calls, trying to figure this out. And we were certain we had it figured out. We thought we had it licked. And we found the part. And Chris picked it up on his way there, and we got there, and it was not the right part.
Was it close?
I don't know.
Oh.
So the other thing that was really frustrating is so there's a handful of different kinds of bearings that could be the bearing we needed.
Yep.
And depending on which one you have, the installation instruction ranged from bearing will press in with your hands and practically drop into my 20-ton press isn't strong enough. You need something bigger.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So he has Dexter 8K axles on there, which are pretty heavy duty axles. Dexter seems to be like a pretty reputable, well-respected trailer axle brand. I don't know, man. It's just weird. And then I guess Dalton started looking at other things, and the other two axles are completely different. So there's 3 axles on it. The back 2 are the same, and the front one is different. And we lost one on the front one.
So is he going to have to replace the front axle with whatever matches the rears because those are what are available?
I think that he spent somewhere near the $4,000 mark on his $6,000 trailer since we got home.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So that has a hydraulic brake setup on it, right? Like
a
real
car.
hydraulic brakes on the trailer that are actuated by an electric signal from the truck.
Yep.
And GM will flat out tell you that their factory integrated brake controller does not work with the system.
Oh, jeez.
And so when they're driving down the road, as you go to hit the brakes, they have to reach down there and squeeze the gain lever thing on the brake controller to apply the brakes to the trailer.
But it's an aftermarket one, not an OEM one.
No, the factory one.
The factory
If
one
you
does do it?
Manually squeeze that button, it will work.
Okay.
But if you don't get the timing right, or you squeeze it too hard, or you fuck up in some way, the truck will realize that you're fucking with it, and it will shut it off completely. And then you have to shut the truck off and start it back up again in order to get it to trigger back on and let you cheat the system.
Oh my gosh, what a mess. I did not realize he had to do that.
And Dalton's terrible at it. Ryan's really good at it. Dalton is not.
But Dalton's had the most practice.
So Dalton has to, like, nearly every time we stop, he has to shut the truck off, turn it back on again. Ryan managed to do it. Ryan drove the whole run this weekend, and he managed to do it when I was with him, at least. I think only maybe once or twice that we had to shut the truck off, which is a marked improvement over other trips.
Wow. Good for him.
So, whole deal, right? But anyway, Dalton, I think what he was trying to do was standardize it across the axles. He was also buying new brake setups, and then he wanted a complete spare setup as well.
Oh, wow.
And then he was also trying to buy the correct aftermarket controller so that the system would work properly.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
But I think he may have had This is hilarious to me. I think he may have pulled the brake controller out of the order because it put it over the maximum weight limit that UPS would ship as a single package. Which, if I'm not mistaken, is 180 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
fucking Dalton.
That sounds like something he would do.
You gotta love the kid, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, but anyway, we managed to get there safely. And then the general consensus throughout the weekend with all the people that we talked to, including Adam Jabay and my dad and a handful of other people who have more trailer and trailering experience than any of us have, is that because it's a torsion axle system, which means that basically the axle is U-bolted directly to the frame of the trailer, and so it doesn't have any real suspension, and so it doesn't sag. That and the overrated weight of the axles that are on the trailer, that we probably would be fine just throwing all the cars in the trailer and sending it home, which is what we did, and it made it home no problem.
Well, that's good.
So we drove it all the way from South Haven, Michigan to Sheldon, Iowa with 5 wheels and tires.
And no issue. So that's
right. We weren't sure. Of course, not all of the brakes worked.
Well, yeah.
From the PPIR.
Well, that's right, because he didn't fix the brakes from the last time.
It hasn't been fixed yet. And so, of course, the one that the hub failed was one that did work, and we didn't want to unplumb it from the system.
Right.
And so the brake drum had to stay on. So we ratchet strapped it from the frame, like across the hubs and then back to the frame again, so that the disc or the drum would stay in place, because it doesn't spin each wheel spins independently of the opposite side of the axle.
Yes.
So it's not like that drum is spinning as we're driving down the road, since there's no wheel on it. And so we just ratchet strapped it on there, and that way when we push the brakes with our finger, because you can't let the truck do it for you, at least it didn't throw the pads out of whack.
Right.
Because we weren't sure at the time whether we were going to replace them, or he wasn't sure whether he was going to replace them or not. So
right.
The saga of the $6,000 50-foot long stacker trailer continues.
But it'll be back for more. And that's what's important.
So now it should be relatively reliable at this point now.
Like any cheap vehicle, if you put twice as much as you spent on it to begin with in it, it'll be better.
I don't want to talk about it, Robbie.
Me neither.
So, anyway, once we got to the event, my sole purpose for being at the Grid Life event that we went to this weekend was to be co-host with Abe Schmucker on the time attack portion of the live stream for the event. So that meant covering 3 or 4 time attack sessions a day with 3 run groups per session. A, B, and C this weekend. There were roughly 90 cars registered, and that number dwindled kind of alarmingly, honestly, as the weekend went on. Not a good weekend as far as like record-setting pace. Despite the fact that a lot of these cars probably haven't seen as much track time in the last year as the owners probably would have liked, and so they've had an extended building season. The track just wasn't there.
No.
For record pace. That being said, there were a lot of people who were very close to breaking the class records, in some cases their own records. Street mod, there were probably 2 or 3 guys that were there that if a lap could have been put together, they had a sub 130 lap time in there, which is fucking staggering, because our first festival Grid Life event that we ever attended, Professional Awesome went sub 30 there.
That was like a huge deal at the time.
Yeah, that was a full unlimited class build, and that was like, like we've seen peak time attack here, and now Street Mod, which is 3 tiers down from the unlimited class, is knocking on that minute 30 door. And I genuinely believe at Midwest Festival that we will probably see more than one car do it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's definitely what's going to happen.
That's pretty wild, in my opinion. very excited for that. For the most part, because our Canadian friends to the north are still not allowed to cross the border, a lot of our unlimited class heavy hitters were not allowed to come. And so then the few that are still here on the stateside don't generally tend to make it either. And so a lot of the really crazy cars that I was hoping to see didn't make it. So kind of the class to watch this weekend was Club TR.
Yep.
Because they had a ton of competitors, and a lot of the cars that I think are going to end up being the pointy end of the stick as the year goes on were there. None of them quite made it into that sub-minute 40 mark, despite the fact that two of them in Club TR spec have done it on track days there this year. If that tells you how bad the track was.
It was awful.
Yeah. So, either way, fun weekend. Doing the live stream thing with Abe is a ton of fun. I really enjoy doing it because it's basically just like a long podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're just chatting with your buddy,
right? And so we were doing some bench racing and talking about Abe asked me a couple times what car would you build for X class and stuff like that, and
you love that stuff.
It's always fun.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, and I always have my thoughts on it, and it's kind of fun to drill Abe on the rule book because Abe wrote the rule book for all intents and purposes.
As you should, because I think with with GLTC you have it's a race and you have cars battling for position and you have stuff to really talk about. But with Time Attack, you're focusing on lap time, and it's kind of hard to just unless you have the drone following that exact car and you have all the data in front of you. It's hard to have that type of commentary. So having that type of back and forth that you and Abe have, with whether it's rules or ways to break a class or what a way a car works really well in that class, is the commentary that Time Attack absolutely needs, which is why you're perfect for it.
Yeah. And I follow a lot of the series, not only Grid Life, but GTA and even SCCA's time trial national rule set, which I think even a lot of the diehard time attackers don't follow very closely. So I see a lot of it. I watch all these people building them as much as I can. I'm pretty much the creepy weird guy in the background because I don't interface with any of these people on a regular basis, which I guess brings me to the point once again. I know that there's a lot of people who are Grid Life regulars that always make sure to listen to our Grid Life recaps. And so if you are a Time Attack competitor at a Grid Life event and you're listening to this right now, please slide into my DMs and talk to me about your builds. Please. Instagram, I'm fucking terrible at opening Instagram. I probably do it twice a month. But I made sure to make it so that if I get a DM that Instagram kind of aggressively notifies me on my phone so that I might actually see those things more often or with more regularity. Facebook Messenger is absolutely the place to get a hold of me. If you can't find me, you can get a hold of me on any of the TenTenths podcast social medias, and it will get to me eventually. Robbie will tell me to look at it or whatever.
Yep.
So, but I would love to talk to you guys about your builds. I would love to talk to you guys about the trials and tribulations you've had through the season, leading up to the next event, getting to the next event, even during the event. Because I'm always kind of running around doing things, so it's hard for me to just go and talk to people. And also, I'm not the best at the introduction thing. So I've already had a handful of guys that have reached out to me to be like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that you even know who I am." That was cool, and thanks for, talking about me and my car on the live stream this weekend. So that's been really cool.
Yeah, no, I think your passion for the Time Attack stuff, not just for the live stream, you genuinely follow more builds than people realize. So you actually know what's gone into a lot of these cars.
Well, and I made comment to Abe this weekend. I said, we got to figure out a better way to do this because I need to see the racetrack. I genuinely miss watching races.
Oh yeah.
And he's says to me something about like you enjoy actually just like standing there and watching it. I'm like, dude, there's very few things in this world that I enjoy more than standing on the edge of a racetrack and watching cars race. And we got into talking about like where I like to stand at Gingerman specifically, because that's where we were this weekend. And he kind of like looks at me and goes like, you really are a nerd about this stuff, aren't you? I'm like, yeah, I am.
Absolutely.
I love this stuff.
So when you're doing the live stream, are you sitting in front of a television?
Yeah, the only thing I can see is the TV in front of me.
Is that
literally
what's showing on the live stream?
Literally, if whatever the people viewing the live stream at home see is all I can see as well.
Oh, okay.
I can't see what's going on track. I don't have any way of anticipating what's coming up next.
Yep.
The live stream team is really, really good about, like, if we're talking about a particular driver, following that car, either with the camera angles or with even the drone. I can't say it enough times. The drone operators are insanely talented.
Yeah, they don't get enough credit.
They're so good.
The drone footage that they put out every live stream is beyond impressive. Like it makes it that much more professional.
They were just messing around with the drones a couple of times, like if they were towing a car off track or something like that. And there's that big ass tree like in the turn 3 complex.
Yep.
And they were like finding holes to fly the drones all the way through the tree. And there was one time where he tried to set it on a pad of some sort that was in one of the JLG buckets that one of the camera operators was using. I think the one on the front straight.
Okay.
And he landed it, and the weight of it landing like tipped that pad, and it fell down to the ground. And so the camera operator had to come down and flip the thing back over so it could take back off again. And they set it on the hood of the tow truck one time. And there was one time in Group C, my favorite thing there in Group C, those drones are legit fast.
Oh yeah.
Like keep up with all but the absolute insane fastest cars there in a straight line.
Yep.
And so Group C is the slowest group of time attack. Usually those are guys who are new to time attack, or have newer builds, and they're cars that are working their way up in pace, and drivers that are working their way up in pace, right? So I'm not saying like, oh, these guys are the slowest and they suck. It's just they're in a different spot than the guys at the pointy end of the class. And I commend them for still being out there and doing it. That's awesome. But there was a guy there in a Civic. I think he was in Club TR. I don't even know what Gen Civic, doesn't fucking matter. But he was going down the straightaway between 2 and 3, and this drone was passing him and then turning around and coming back at him. And there was one time where he was behind the car getting ready to pass the guy, and the guy sticks his hand out and gives the drone the point by like, oh, go this way. And I'm just like, this is the best.
That guy gets it.
That's hilarious.
The fact that he was able to like be in the moment enough to notice that that's what the drone was doing. That's pure gold.
Like, man. I'm going as fast as I can, man. Just go around me. Just go around. And so at the end of Sunday, I suggested, and I'm going to try and make this happen, I suggested that we zip tie a transponder to one of those things and have them do a lap.
Oh, that'd be great.
I want to know how fast a drone is around Gingerman.
That would be cool.
Because I'll bet they put down, like, just, fly, say, 8 to 10 foot above the road surface.
Yep,
Make sure that you stay what would be within track limits.
Yep.
And do a lap.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'll bet it's way upsettingly fast.
Oh yeah.
So we need to make that happen. So
I think if you say it enough times on the live stream, they'll do it.
That's fair. I think really realistically, the only reason it didn't happen is because I didn't think of it until Sunday afternoon, and there just wasn't the time to put it together.
Yep. No, it's much like this podcast. You got to speak it into existence.
Right.
Just say it. And
now Adam Jabay knows that I want to do it, so we can make these things happen.
I don't think you even need Adam to have to know about it. Just kind of mention it.
Probably not.
Mention it to the drone guys. Be like, it'd be cool.
Yeah, we just need timing and scoring to play along, and I know the timing and scoring guys fairly well, so we can make this happen.
Yeah, it'd be easy.
So,
I mean,
there was one other thing I wanted to mention, and now I can't remember what it was. So, I know what it is. I'm putting out a call out to everybody with slow ass cars that have a 25-1 roughly power to weight, so that we can get some more variety in Sunday Cup, because Abe is like absolutely head over heels smitten with fits.
Yep.
And so I want nothing more than other cars to come in and race Sunday Cup, because right now it's just a train of like 9 or 10 fits, and there could be Mazda 2s, there could be non-S Mini Coopers. I am actively campaigning to get the rules to change to allow turbochargers, so that like Sonics and Sparks can come and race.
That'd be perfect.
Non-ST Fiestas would fit. Yeah. I want to see more cars in Sunday Cup that are not fits.
Man, you're going to offend some fit people.
That's fine. There's too many of them. Matt Williams, I'm looking at you.
Everyone drank the Honda Fit Kool-Aid, man.
Well, I mean, Grid Life is kind of built on the Honda community originally, and so that's kind of what's going to be there. And also, they're like the easy button for that sort of thing. And to be realistic, I think like really, the Mazda 2 is a pretty decent handling car. The Mini Cooper certainly is a capable vehicle, but it's not as reliable as a Fit, and so it just makes more sense to do that. You know, if you're going to do that sort of thing. And I think most people who track their Mini Coopers buy the turbo or supercharged versions.
Yeah,
instead.
Makes sense.
So, but that's what I want. That's my call out. I think too many goddamn Honda Fits. Those damn Hondas.
Those damn Hondas.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I will be doing the live stream at the Autobahn event in 3 weeks.
Awesome.
Hopefully we can do it in the air conditioned relaxation of their tower.
That'd be
because it's
great.
Always like 10 degrees warmer than the surface of the sun in Joliet that weekend.
Maybe it'll rain this time. I'm sorry. I did not mean to say that out loud.
You know what? That's fine. Last year they had like a tornado roll through there, so
yeah,
fuck it.
Nope, it was a good week, or good weekend, and
yeah, ton of fun.
Nope, I'm really. I mean, I was always impressed with the Grid Life environment and the GLTC drivers environment, because like, I mean, obviously you get guys that are chasing after first place, and then you get focused on that, and then that's when it's the aggression will come out every once in a while. But like in general, GLTC is a really awesome group of people that's all about racing. So like, yeah, I mean, guys like me that are in the back and and they want to be towards the front. You could talk to the people around you and you're like immediately friends. Like I had a bunch of people add me on Facebook, but like we hardly spoke at all. But like now we have this like cool bond. Like we're GLTC racers together, and now we talk to each other at events. But I thought like I'm in that GLTC group, or that group chat rather, and one of the guys that was, I honestly don't know if he's like one of the newer drivers or if he's been around a while, but like he just made a comment that he wanted to, his wedding got canceled, or how did that go? No, because I think
my understanding of it was that they were supposed to get married last year and COVID hit, and so they had to cancel their wedding.
Yes. So but this is where I get kind of confused but anyways, what we did was, it was a surprise for her. So like they're there for the weekend. He's racing, and we're send out a bunch of GLTC cars to do roller shots, air quote. And we do a full lap, and like she's in the car with him, and they get around the front straight. We all stop and park it, and he gets out and proposes, or maybe re-proposes, because I know they were supposed to get married in the past.
Yeah,
but like I thought that was so cool that just a big group of the drivers, like at the end of the day, you're tired, stuff's broken. We all just are like, nah, man, we'll help you with this. It's cool. And we just hop in our cars, and like we take time to just be there in the moment for another driver to do something cool for himself or his girl. So I thought that was super awesome. Just the environment and then the camaraderie that is built with that group.
Yeah. There's nothing more I want than to like make that a family function for me.
Absolutely.
I mean, other than the fact that I would rather be on the track than behind a camera, but
that time is coming for sure.
The family thing's probably more realistic short term.
Yeah, I think so for sure.
It sounds like it's all but set in stone that Katie and Logan are going to Colorado with me.
Awesome. Yeah, Colorado's fun because you could turn that into a vacation real easily.
Yeah, Josh Vettis' wife is coming with him as well. Sounds like we've already booked an outdoorsy.
Nice.
And I guess this is getting real. So we're gonna pack the hand up and we're gonna drive ourselves to Pikes Peak.
Awesome. Yeah, Jess talked about she wants to go to Pikes Peak. She wants to go to Topeka. She wants to go to Road America.
I want to take Katie to Road America.
I don't know if her schedule is going to allow any of it, but she's all in on going to anyone that she can because this is her last home stretch before she's a nurse. So it's very busy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I'm sure there's something I'm totally forgetting that I meant to talk about, and because it's just I'm still cloud nine, dude. I don't know.
Good. I genuinely am happy. I know that we made the joke that like, oh, you're a club racer now. You're too good for us. You're up on your high horse, which is why I bought the Monty Python coconut shells.
Do you have
and if you don't think I'm not going to follow you around a racetrack clumping those together, you're fucking dead wrong.
Do you have them right now?
They're not with me, but they're in my house.
Oh,
I was going to bring them.
Yeah, I was going
to. My intention was to bring them to your house. The other thing I'm going to do as a joke is I'm probably going to just have them sitting next to me when I'm on the live stream. There'll be like 12 people that get it, but it'll totally be worth it.
Yeah, I think that's good. No, I just didn't want you to make fun of me for being in last place. I was fine with anything.
Oh no, I would never.
Call me Backpack Bob. I was not as on board with that one. Don't call me the worst one.
You're hoping you would be more mid-pack so that Backpack Bob wouldn't be quite so much of a sting.
Yeah, no.
But we were like semi-serious about getting T-shirts made with your car on it that said Backpack Bob on it.
Don't do that. That's just mean. But I can still pretend to be on my high horse because I'm a club racer now.
You're better than everybody.
Unlike you time attackers.
Fucking kick those nerds out.
I'm real racing now.
I mean, it's not like they're paying for your weekend or anything because there's still double the entries, Robbie.
That's because we can only fit so many cars on track, Adam. No, I'll
fucking club racers.
I'll steer into that joke and pretend to be that guy, even though I'm painfully aware of how important HPD and time attack is to the community. But I'll definitely I'll joke about it, but I won't be the guy that emails the SCCA board and says you need to change your thing to say it shouldn't say racing for your autocross advertisement, because we had that. And I almost responded with, "Why don't you go fuck yourself?" But I decided that was that was probably not the best response for my first board meeting email.
I hope he's listening right now. Fuck that guy.
I think it was the first mass email I got copied on that came back to the board, and it was literally someone saying something as petty, like a club racer, really pettily saying, Your autocross advertisement shouldn't use the word racing. And I think it was the first time I responded to the group thing. I didn't actually say, why don't you tell them to fuck off? But it was something along those lines. I was just like, yeah, just fuck off, dude.
That is absolutely the elitist attitude that nobody needs.
No. Everyone's got their own path. And my path was always focused on this is where I wanted to go with it.
Yeah,
I mean that was where I wanted to be. It doesn't mean that's the better choice or like that I think I'm higher than anybody else. It's just that's where I wanted to be. To me, that was the goal. So, I don't know if you think you're better than a time attacker because you're club racing. I think you need to check your ego.
Yeah,
but I'll definitely steer. I'll definitely steer into the joke, and I mean, can I get a crown because
the main reason that I have gone this far into this joke is because I know that you know that it's a joke.
Yeah. No, if I had that attitude, I would also hope that you would.
Yeah.
Like if I truly
I'm not worried about you actually getting up on your high horse.
No, if I did and I was starting to be that guy, I would hope that you would bring me back down to reality and say, dude, you're being a fucking douche.
If Logan had one of those little horse broomstick things, I would absolutely take it to a racetrack and I would follow you from the pit to the driver's meeting without a doubt. It would be the best.
Oh God. No, I'll steer into it. Every time they say like GLTC driver meeting, I'll get up and say, "Oh, that's me, guys. The real racing. I got to go over here now.
Real racers
over here."
Jesus Christ!
But I'll only do it in our little group. I won't. I'm not the guy that's going to stand and be like, "Time attack sucks." No, that's a douche. That's a douche thing to do.
Yeah.
But if you want to get better at time attack or road racing or club racing or anything, HPD, I mean anything really, head over to ApexTrackCoach.com, get your ApexPro, use code TenTenths. You get, oh gosh, what is it now? 10% off if you get a Gen 2 and the window mount. So it's effectively a free window mount and some percentage off as well. The Gen 2, it's coming. I guess it's not. Is it even truly available yet? I know he check the website.
Posted today that
it's there. It's there. Select options.
Oh yeah,
Gen 2 on the website. It is there. Add to cart. Oh God, there's a huge lead time. Okay, they have 4 in stock right now. If you order right now, which means this is going to be days late.
He made a post, I think, on his personal Facebook asking if there's anybody who is looking for part-time help because they need assembly help.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That means that...
So, I don't know. I think it might have also said it was not for their ApexPro product.
Damn it.
But I don't know.
Yep. No, I know that there's a huge push. They just hired... oh, God.
Finch.
Yeah. That's good.
He's no longer Brad from Tire Rack.
I kept trying to say Brad. I was like, that's not his real name.
I know, right? I can't think of his first name right now.
Ryan.
It's just Finch. Ryan Finch. There you go.
They just hired him, and he's I think he's a really good person for that job, for the marketing and sales, I believe, is the technical role. But I think he's perfect for it. I think he'll help push them even more so than us and like the people that have teamed up with ApexPro. I think that they'll really grow the company and get this Gen 2 in a lot more people's hands. And I think it's good. I can't wait to see more people. I can't wait to get my hands on the Gen 2 instead of just using it. Because I use it all weekend. I was following the lights. I knew when I was doing better and when I was doing worse. And I can't wait to have the new lights that show me when I'm improving, like on iRacing. Still nerding out about that, man. I think it's great. I can't get over it.
Oh, Ravi.
But no, I've ApexTrackCoach.com. Use code TenTenths. If you have any questions, or like if you are at an event and I'm at, I got a couple of Gen 1s you could borrow. I let Ryan borrow it over the weekend at Grid Life. I know a couple other people have asked to borrow it at other events. Absolutely, get a hold of me if you see me at an event. If I have one, I'll let you borrow it. Or if you want to borrow it at an event that I'm not going to go at, and you know that I'm not going to be at, but you can get a hold of me before then, I could let you borrow it. I've done that before with a couple of friends and people that I know and trust that I just hand them the unit and I'll go have fun all weekend. Just bring it back to me on Monday, and it's great. So yeah, if I can trust you, you can borrow the unit. How about that? ApexTrackCoach.com, or hit me up directly.
I got one more thing to add, and then we can shut this down.
Cool.
So everybody's well aware of Dalton and the sister episode.
They're aware.
Yes. If you're not that I want to promote other podcasts, but the Slip Angle Patreon, and get that sister action in your life. It's the most hilarious thing that you will ever listen to so Dalton has what we are referring to, and I'm not going to give any more details beyond the title, but we are referring to it as the mother-brother incident. And he is holding that over Abe's head until Abe posted time attack results and points. Guess what was posted during the recording of this show?
The points and
The
season
points.
totals.
Ryan Seiler, currently your Club TR leader. What
Woo!
up?
That is awesome.
So I'm pretty excited about that. That he's doing that well. Very excited to see that car and driver continue this year. So Ryan is really quick, despite having very little experience on basically all of the tracks that we're going to this year. Has still very much been in the fight and the thick of things for both NCM and this weekend at Gingerman. So clearly a talented driver and a well set up car. I'm very excited to see how he does.
Yeah, I think he's going to continue to do well.
Yeah. So that's all I got. I just wanted to say that while it was.
Yeah, I'm glad that happened.
Yeah.
And good.
That also means that after Autobahn, we will probably have the mother brother episode.
Man,
so that'll be good.
You know, we don't have to have a show that stays on topic like we do. We can have these shows on our show sometime. If you're,
I don't know that I'm ready to let our podcast that is publicly aired to devolve to such madness.
You don't want to be the Jason Ellis show?
I mean, it's not that I don't want to be, it's that I don't know that I want this one to be.
Fair enough.
You know?
I can't wait to hear that story again.
Yeah.
I need to go back.
I heard a few more this weekend.
Yeah.
So I have a small running list I'm keeping track of.
Yep, Slip Angle Patreon if you want to hear Sister and the forthcoming mother-brother incident. Yeah, but if you want to listen to more of our stuff, check it out on everywhere. If you want to be more involved with what we're doing, head over to Facebook and check out our Facebook page and our group, TenTenths Consortium. There we got a few hundred of our closest friends, and we post things regularly. Well, not us personally, but like the whole group posts fun stuff regularly. Conversations are usually good. It's usually drama-free, which is actually really cool. I'm actually really proud of that. The fact that
absolutely,
our group is usually fun and there's minimal drama. So yeah, TenTenths Consortium on Facebook if you want to be involved in our little group. I think that's all I got this week. I'm still flying pretty high on my weekend, and I think after like a time attack weekend, if I had that much damage to my car, I'd be really like mad about it and down and like, what's the point? Whereas now I'm just like, let's empty that bank account. Let's get this fixed. So,
no,
it's just so exciting, and it's fun to like have that that drive and excitement about it. All like just come rushing back, and like I'm like want to be back into it because like we always like keep saying like what a stupid hobby, but it's like man, I can't wait. I want more. But I think that's it. I will. I guess we'll check everybody else next week.